All right, let's get started. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me all right. My name is Juliet Olson. I'm coming to you from the Office of Admission, and I'm really excited to spend the next hour or so with you all to talk more about student life and the opportunities that we have for our students on campus. For the fluidity of this event, if you could keep your mute on so we don't have to deal with any background noise, that would be really appreciated for the time being. But I just am here to provide a bit of an introduction. I want to say on behalf of our entire admission committee, we have had such a great time forming this incoming
I can't get it.
all of you through your application process. We are so excited and confident in the quality and the type of student that we are bringing onto our campus for this upcoming year. And you all should give yourselves a pat on the back and a round of applause because all of your hard work is paying off, and you are able to get ready to start a new chapter of your life. And participating in this virtual event is going to provide you with some great resources so you can make sure that you are able to really hit the ground running once you start your Chapman career. So for the next hour or so, we have some fun things for you. Specifically, we are going to start off with a quick informational presentation just to kind of give you a foundation on student life and Greek life and student orgs as a whole at our institution. Once we finish with that, we will pass over the platform to our current students. We have about 5 current students here who are leaders on our campus, and they want to be able to engage in a Q&A with you so they can share their experience, give their tips and tricks, and just really give you more exposure on how to capitalize on your experience outside the classroom at Chapman University. So I will be sifting through the chat or the chat feed throughout the presentation, and I'll be answering any direct questions that I can. So if you develop or formulate any questions throughout our presentation, or especially in the live Q&A, submit them to the chat feed because that's where we'll be moderating them and then directing them to our students. And we really want to take advantage of this opportunity and focus on that bi-directional communication so you can engage with our current students and start to build your Chapman network already. So with that being said, again, thank you all for coming. I will pass it over to my colleague Jacqueline, who is our Assistant Director for Student Engagement.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here. I think it's wonderful to see so many folks interested and excited to learn more about fraternity and sorority life and student organizations on campus. I have the pleasure of working in student engagement and specifically get to work with all our student organizations and our fraternity and sorority community on campus. So I'm going to spend, as Juliet said, the next few minutes kind of walking through a high-level overview of what these communities on campus, on our campus, look like, and what to expect as the year gets started. I think I have to caveat that with the uncertainty that this time has brought for us, and so I think just keep that in mind. I think we are doing our best to keep things as normal as possible as the semester gets started, but I think some of the details are still up in the air as we work out what the semester will bring on our campus. So with that, I'm going to share my screen to a presentation format. So here we go. We'll jump in. Oh, sorry, it's not letting me transition the slides. There we go. So again, on our campus, we have a pretty high level of students compared to many peer institutions involved in fraternity and sorority life. So that's about 1/3 of our undergraduate student body is in a Greek organization on campus. And as it breaks down, almost 40% of women on campus are involved in a sorority, and about 30% of men are involved in a fraternity. Academics are a core value of all of our fraternities and sororities, and we, as a community, maintain a 3.3, just over a 3.3 grade point average. You can see our average chapter sizes. So this is this past spring, but our fraternity's average chapter size was about 75 members, and our sororities this past spring was almost 200, was over 200 at the start of this past spring semester. So large organizations on our campus. We have 18 fraternity and sorority chapters on campus, 10 fraternities and 8 sororities, and these are all nationally recognized National Panhellenic Conference, which is the sororities, and members or of an interfraternity council on our campus, so social fraternities. And then the final thing, as kind of a high-level overview, is that it's an unhoused community. So while some members live together off campus informally, we do not have or support housing through our Greek organizations on campus. Fraternity and sorority life and many of our student organizations offers a variety of different things, and some that I'd like to mention are personal growth. I think in these organizations, and specifically in a lot of our leadership roles, you will be challenged, you will grow as individuals, and you will need to care for your members, your brothers and sisters in these Greek organizations. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for that. In most of our organizations, there are 20 plus leadership positions, and then as a part of that, also hundreds of committee positions in these chapters. So definitely something to get involved with, and get involved with where your passions lie, I think is important to note. Community engagement and participation, whether that be participating in community service. Some of our organizations do that better than others, but even at local locations, shelters, Boys and Girls Clubs, whatever it might be, I think there's a lot of opportunity for in the Orange community engagement and support, but also national engagement. I think even this summer, our organizations attending protests together as smaller groups, whatever it might be, I think there's room and space for that in our chapters. Academic achievement is, as I mentioned previously, a part of every one of our organizations. Accountability and peer accountability in terms of behavior and support, and then connection. I think that's the one thing we hear from as we survey our members and hear back from members in both student organizations and fraternity and sorority life, that one of the biggest values or benefits of joining a group on campus is the connection, the sense of finding a home outside of home in these organizations, whether that be social connections or kind of interpersonal connections. I think that's definitely a great part of our organizations. There are commitments to joining these organizations, and there are many, but I'm just going to highlight 2 that we get the most questions about. The time commitment is dependent on the organization and dependent on how involved you are in the organization. But at a basic level, all of our organizations have weekly chapter meetings, usually on Sunday or Monday nights. And then also, depending on when you join, a new member meeting, in addition to some other committee type meetings. Outside of that, there are a number of events that happen throughout the semesters. Many of those are optional. And so you can kind of pick and choose how you want to be involved in those ways. The other commitment is financial, and this is significant, and I think I don't sugarcoat those, because I think this is real and something that's a part of joining one of our organizations, but every chapter is different on the financial side, but dues range typically around $500 to $600 a semester. And that might be a little bit more or might be less, depending on fraternity, sorority, or organization, or the semester that you're joining it. There is financial aid offered. It looks different in every organization. There are payment plans offered. It looks different in every organization, but that's something that, as you consider joining one of these organizations, that you should ask about, that our chapters should be transparent about as they are looking for new members in this process. I'll touch briefly on joining our organizations, but our IFC, our fraternity community on campus, has recruitment twice a year, in the fall and in the spring. This year, again, the IFC recruitment process is a little bit up in the air, but right now it is planned for starting on September 13th. So it would be the 3rd and 4th weeks of school. And at this point, if we're able to come back in person, it'll try and be in person with masks and socially distanced. But there's the possibility of that moving virtual as well. So that is something that Mac can elaborate on for sure. And then our panel and sorority recruitment process, we follow a deferred formal recruitment process at Chapman. So primary recruitment for our sorority community takes place in January, the week before school starts. And again, some details are up in the air on that, as that is a process that includes about 2,000 women on campus. But updates will be forthcoming as kind of the semester progresses. I'll also note, if we have any transfer students on the call or upperclassmen, which is a possibility, that there is potential for joining in the fall semester. You just have to have completed 12 credits at a university. So they can't be just transferring credits like AP credits. They have to be at a college or university campus. And Shannon can answer more questions about panel and recruitment as well. Continuing on from there, our student organizations. So we have a very large student organization community on campus, and even more students are involved in student organizations on campus. So we have specifically confirmed 50% of undergraduate students are involved in at least one student organization, and we think that number is higher. That's not even getting accurate rosters from every single one of our organizations. So yeah, currently this past spring, there are 150 or over 175 active organizations, and those fall into 8 different categories. So academic and professional, those are generally connected to a department on campus. The professional organizations are specifically professional fraternities that exist on campus that are nationally recognized, similar to some of our social fraternities and sororities. So that's that category. Civic engagement generally falls into a couple different categories, but our politically based organizations fall under that area, in addition to our service-based organizations, whether that be our Global Brigades group or Alpha Phi Omega, a service-based fraternity. Those fall under that category. Diversity and cultural groups on campus are generally identity-based organizations and are supported quite a bit and utilize the space in our cross-cultural center. So if you're interested in that, please ask questions about specifics there and we can try and answer those. Honor societies are again, are similar to and related to the academic and professional groups on campus, but are recognized because they, you have to achieve a certain GPA, or there is a more formal recognition process to join one of the honor societies on campus. But generally our honor societies are academic-based organizations. Leisure and special interests. So this is, I don't want to diminish it by calling it a catch-all group, but this is a very active group that kind of is a full range of types of clubs and organizations on campus. Everything from our Pokemon club to our Harry Potter club to just general gaming. I'm sorry, I'm in a theme there, to kind of any other interest. We had a pizza club last year. We had a Hawaiian shirt wearing club. There's a full range of clubs in there. And yeah, that's something that folks can join. Performance and arts is a lot of our dance-based clubs, our arts-based clubs. Some of those are connected through COPA. Others are just students who want to get together and have a passion for swing dancing, competing, whatever else it might be. Recreation, fitness, and wellness. We have a number of different recreation, fitness-based clubs. And then religious and spiritual, and we partner with our FISH Interfaith Center in supporting those organizations on campus. So that was a long way to say that there are a lot of different types of groups on campus. And also, if you don't find a group that you have particular interest in, you are able to create that on our campus very easily as well. How do you get in touch, learn more about all of these groups, fraternities and sororities? We engage.chapman.edu, the link's right there. But you all, if you have your Chapman credentials, your Chapman login information, can create a profile on Engage, go on and get contact information for these different fraternities and sororities, clubs and organizations. So I want to note that Engage is a resource for you all and will be throughout the year as you participate in these groups. So where can I learn more? I want to highlight specifically our student involvement fair. This will be happening virtual or in person on Wednesday, September 9th. And we will have arranged, typically this is a big fair in the middle of campus where every student organization, every fraternity and sorority has a table where you can walk up, sign up, so on and so forth. If we're not able to do that, we will be doing that virtually. So we will have sign-up sheets for every group. We will be able to get them your direct contact information. So look out for that September 9th. There will be a lot of PR and advertising before then to learn more about that. Dean Price's emails, some people love them and some people hate them, but they are a great resource for getting news on campus, what's happening on campus, and a lot of our student organizations and fraternities and sororities post updates about how what their membership is doing, what events they're hosting, that kind of thing in his updates. So you'll start getting those every Monday. And when you start getting those, I would really encourage you to take a minute to look through as you can. And then finally, I want to mention our social media. So if you haven't already, please follow these accounts. Life at CU is a great one to hear about and get to know what's happening in student life on campus. And that is the platform where the student involvement fair will be updated and reminders will go out. Chapman Greek Life is our general fraternity and sorority life account on campus. So you'll hear updates, get recruitment updates and otherwise there. And then Chapman Panhellenic and Chapman IFC are the specific council accounts. IFC and Panhellenic are the governing bodies who host fraternity recruitment and sorority recruitment. And so they will have more specific details about how to get involved and register. And then if you're interested, many, if not all, of our student organizations and chapters on campus have individual Instagram accounts. Instagram, I think, is the easiest place to look right now, but they have many other types of accounts also. So take a minute if you're interested in particular groups, find their social media, follow them. They are all engaging and active right now. And then just want to put up some emails real quick. These are pretty straightforward, but if you have questions, feel free to reach out to these email accounts. So with that, I know I ran through that pretty quickly, but hopefully it gave you a high-level overview of some of what's happening in our fraternity and sorority community and our student organizations community. I am going to turn it over to some of our student leaders who are involved in these groups to share a little bit more about their experience. So with that, Shannon, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Shannon. I am currently going into my senior year at Chapman. I'm a business major, I have an analytics minor, and I'm from close to Chapman. I'm from Huntington Beach, so it's about a 30-minute drive normally, but I do live off campus in Orange with actually other people in the sorority community. And we're all in different chapters, which is really cool and something I find really special about Chapman, that we can all connect, even if we're not in the same chapter. But I guess to give a little background about me, so I went through recruitment spring semester of my freshman year, so spring 2017, and I'm a member of Alpha Gamma Delta. So I guess just like a basic overview, the first like year semester is spent like getting to know your chapter, a lot of people, making those connections. And then my sophomore year, I took on the role as vice president of philanthropy, and I hosted, led my chapter in creating our philanthropy event, which was really cool. I also work in this Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life as a Greek leadership assistant. So I guess I have my hands on a lot of different things, but and yeah, and right now I'm serving as the president of the Panhellenic Council, which Jacqueline said is the governing body for all sororities. So yeah, I guess that's like a brief overview, but other than that, I would just say that there's a lot to gain from joining the community, and there's a lot of different aspects, and I look forward to answering your questions later.
Hey everyone, my name is Mac Francini. I am currently entering my junior year as a business administration and accounting double major, minoring in computer science. I'm originally from Willow Glen, California, but like Shannon, I'm currently living in Orange, along with my dog and some of my fraternity brothers. I rushed spring of my freshman year, 2019, and I joined the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity. Some of my involvement with that, I was the vice president of my pledge class. I'm currently part of our chapter's exec as the scholarship chairman. And then I've just also been pretty heavily involved on campus within student engagement and other organizations. Just funny stories. Shannon was my university program board committee leader when I was a freshman. So definitely been around the block. And then again, more in Greek life, I am a part of the Interfraternity Council as the Vice President of Recruitment, and I am going to be the lead Greek leadership assistant going into the upcoming year. Like Shannon said, there's a lot of great things that you can gain from involvement in these organizations, whether they're Greek or not. You will grow a lot as a person and get to meet a lot of cool new people. So I highly encourage you all to get involved as much as possible, whether you're a freshman or going into a different year. And I'm really happy to be here and excited to answer your questions as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Ramia Sinha. I'm going to be a junior this year, and I am a business administration major, double minoring in sociology and Africana studies. I went through recruitment my freshman year, spring semester. I'm in Gamma Phi Beta sorority, and that's just been amazing. I haven't been able to get involved in like leadership with my sorority, but that's just because I'm very involved with student orgs. So that side of things. I've been a part of the Black Student Union since like my freshman year, and I'm currently the president of Black Student Union. And I'm also in Chaptone's a cappella, and that's been amazing. I'm on the executive board for them as well, and that's just like everybody else has been saying, like getting involved is just the best way to, you know, enrich your college experience. So, but yeah, I'm really excited to answer any questions you guys have, and yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Jiwon and I'm currently serving as Student Organization Assistant for Department of Student Engagement. So basically I'm like a go-to person for any student organization questions. That's about starting events, utilizing school resources, asking for funding or reimbursement process, starting a new club, and etc. And I'm a senior at Chapman, double majoring in accounting and business administration. And my hometown is San Jose, California, so go Bay Area. I'm actively part of Accounting Society and Business Co-ed Professional Fraternity known as Delta Sigma Pi that Jacqueline mentioned in one of the academic and professional clubs. I also served on the exec board for Accounting Society and Delta Sigma Pi because I love taking on more responsibilities and challenging myself to lead this amazing student organizations. I was also involved in DECA my freshman year, and also CREW, another religious and spiritual organization. Just like everyone has mentioned, being part of organization at a smaller school truly means a lot. I was able to get my internship through my fraternity and the clubs that I took advantage of, and able to go out of my comfort zone and network. So yeah, join as early as you can. I know you are all excited to join, and Chapman's such an amazing and supportive community. And if you have any questions about student organization, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
Hi all, I'm Dylan. I am also a student organization assistant. I work next to Jiwon. I am going into my senior year, and I am a communication major with a minor in image text interface. I am also from San Jose, go Bay Area. And I actually, in my freshman year, I applied to be a committee member for the University Program Board, or UPB. And that led into me serving as the chair for UPB. And that was literally my gateway into student engagement. It's how I got to be where I'm sitting here today, talking to you all, and also being able to share my experiences with all these amazing people. So as a student organization assistant, Jiwon already touched on everything, but we all have our own different categories to help out with different types of student organizations that Jacqueline had mentioned earlier in the presentation. So if you are interested in any specific organization, depending on which category, you can ask any one of us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all so much for doing introductions, and we're getting some great questions coming in. So I'm going to answer just one that's a little bit more technical, but if you want to see a full active kind of list or place for all the active student organizations on campus, engage.chapman.edu, and we'll put it in the chat, is the best place to go. The Fraternity and Sorority Life websites also have a list of the chapters and the president's contact information, but for all the student organizations, they change often, their leadership changes often. Engage is the most updated place for you all to get that information for contacting our student groups. So engage.chapman.edu, and again, we'll put that in the chat so you all have it. Ramia, do you see the question directed at you? Do you want to take that on real quick? Sorry, and I'll read it. How is your a cappella experience? What's it like? What do you do in the organization? And how does it stand out from other groups?
Yes, a cappella is amazing. I've had so much fun. I think it was one of the best things I've ever done. Going through auditions freshman year, it was a great way for me to really find a community and find a group of friends really early on, because it's before sorority recruitment and all of that. So it was the first couple of weeks I was able to find a really awesome group of people. What do we do? We usually, we perform on campus. So a lot of the other student organizations, they'll have different events going on or whatever. So sometimes they'll ask us to perform, and we'll perform at those. We also just, learn music and just practice those for ourselves. We host our own events as well. And so we'll invite different a cappella groups from different schools even. So we like to really reach out to other schools, especially in the California area. So is there anything that makes it stand out? I think a cappella is a little different than the choir groups at Chapman. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. A cappella is, I feel like it's a little just not as, not as to the bone, I guess. I'm not sure if that's a saying, but you know what I mean. So it's a lot of fun, more freedom, I guess is what I mean. So yeah, and it's more student led as well. So anything that we decide to do, it's our decision really. And yeah, it's really fun. I definitely recommend auditioning if anybody's interested in music or singing. It's super fun. So
thanks so much, Mia. Mac, can you address the difference between fall and spring fraternity recruitment? And then can you also talk about what the process normally looks like?
Yeah, totally. Andrew, thanks for the question. Traditionally speaking, there is virtually no difference between fall and spring recruitment for Fraternity Rush. All chapters engage in recruitment both semesters. However, given circumstances of this semester, things might look a little different in that sense. We are still planning, like Jacqueline mentioned earlier, to have in-person recruitment should we be allowed to be back on campus. However, we will still be holding some virtual alternative for that if we do happen to go online for this semester. All chapters participate both semesters, so a lot of people will choose to simply either, if they're new to the campus and just want to get involved quickly, they'll rush in the fall, or if they kind of want to get their bearings first, some people will decide to rush in the spring. But either way, you're able to join the same chapters either time, regardless of your class status or anything like that. Our recruitment status recruitment process traditionally is fairly unstructured. We start with a rush kickoff event where you're able to meet all the chapters and learn a little bit about them. And then from there, you can attend kind of open house events as much or as little as you would like to get to know each of the chapters and kind of find your home, followed by a preference night, which is invitation only. Basically, chapters will invite you back if they want to get to know you more intimately. And eventually they'll extend a bid, which is basically a formal invitation to join the chapter. And then each chapter has their own new member education protocols after that. But for this fall, we're still planning to do something similar to that with obviously adequate social distancing and health and safety protocols implemented.
Thanks, Mac. And I'll address a related question below, but in both the fraternity and sorority community on campus, you can be any level of classmen to join our student organizations and our fraternities and sororities. I should say the caveat is some of our professional organizations, honor societies do require you to be an upperclassman, but about 30%, I know this specifically for sorority recruitment, of the people who go through the process are actually upperclassmen. So while the majority are first-year students, many do wait to go through until their sophomore or junior, and always a couple of seniors participating in the process their senior year. So that's absolutely something to consider. This is going to be for Shannon. Sorry to stay on the recruitment theme while we can, but can you talk about what the sorority recruitment process traditionally looks like?
Yeah, so formal recruitment traditionally takes place the 4 days prior to the beginning of spring semester. So it starts Wednesday night with like the kickoff event, but then the 4 days after that would be the first day you would have a chance to meet all the chapters, and it's like a structured process where you, it's all taking place on campus because we don't have houses like Jacqueline mentioned, but you're in groups and you go and you meet all the different chapters. And then from there, it's a mutual selection process. So you choose the chapters and kind of rank them in like your love, the chapters that you love and the chapters that you like. And they kind of do the same back. But anyway, so you go on, day 2 is philanthropy focused. So you learn about the chapter's philanthropies and what causes they are passionate about. And then the day after that is Values Day. You get on a more deeper level, longer conversations with the women of each chapter. And then the final day is Pref Morning, where you can only be invited up to 2 chapters. And then later on in the afternoon, it's Bid Night, and that's when you receive your formal invitation to join the chapter.
Thanks, Shannon. And yeah, we've gotten some questions about what virtual will look like. It's up in the air is the answer to that question, and we know it's an important one, and I think we're working through it, but many campuses across the country are shifting to an all virtual recruitment process right now, and so we have a little bit of luxury of seeing how it works on those campuses over the next couple of weeks. But I know many campuses are doing all of it on Zoom, one-on-one interactions, small group interactions, and decision-making from there. So again, I think our hope at Chapman is to do as much in person as possible while we can maintain safety, our student safety being the priority. But that's something that we will talk about, or I guess we're already talking about it and planning for it, but we will have more details as that approaches if that's the situation that we're in. Sorry, jumping down from there. I don't know, Jiwan or Dylan, maybe you all can take this, but the process of starting a new organization, applying through Engage, I'm happy to answer that as well. But either one of you want to jump in?
Sure, you can
Great.
correct us if we're wrong. So typically there is a form on Engage where you can get it like started. And once you fill out the form, which is all about like what kind of club do you want to create, as well as just the principles behind it and just what your plans are, like your basic outline for. We have our graduate assistant who is also part of our student organizations teams for each category, and they will review the form and then reach out to you and set meetings and also just give you an overview. Well, not an overview, a very detailed explanation and walkthrough of how to get your club started, as well as the requirements, responsibilities, and also just requirements and responsibilities of leading a club and also maintaining an active status for that organization. In terms of involvement there, I'm not sure if you would be able to create a club in time for the involvement fair. But at the fair, we will be handing out like instructions of how to start a club if you want, like a link to direct you to the form, as well as a list of all active organizations at that moment.
Yeah, and I'll jump in there, Dylan. I think historically, we have tried to push, if there's a couple groups who have really gotten their feet gotten off the ground in the first couple of weeks of school, I think we really try and support them to be a part of the involvement fair so they can get that initial batch of members and signups to get rolling. Again, I think a little bit more is up in the air if we're virtual or not at the start of this year. But I do think we would, if you have interest now, email student orgs. We'll work with you individually if you have a specific club or organization that you would like to see, you're passionate about. We would try and support you in getting that going. So again, email student orgs right now and we can maybe have a conversation on the side. Great.
Yep.
Thanks, Dylan. Shannon, real quick, do you want to address recommendation letters?
Yeah, Julia touched on it a little bit, but if you do have some sort of connection and someone wants to submit a letter for you, they should connect with that specific chapter. They can contact them. Well, I guess if you go on their website or their social media, some form to get in contact with them, they can easily send a letter. But Natalia, to address your question, you do not need a letter. It's just an optional thing that some people elect to do, but you don't need a letter to participate in recruitment or join a sorority.
And I'll add on that I would say most people, if not the vast majority, I would say maybe 10% of people on our campus submit recommendation letters. And I would also say on the chapter side, sometimes they're considered and sometimes they're not considered, depending on the chapter. So I think generally on our campus, that is not, I think this is definitely different, especially from like more traditional Southern institutions and fraternity and sorority communities, but that's not something that is a significant part of the recruitment, specifically the sorority recruitment process on our campus. But yes, you are welcome to submit them. And I do also think there's information on the Panhellenic website if you want to send them directly to campus for the student org's mailbox. But that's some details there. Following up, Shannon, do you want to talk about registration October and what that looks like?
Yeah. So registration for recruitment opens in October and it goes through, I think December, like the end of the semester. And then after that, there'll be late registration. Well, I guess what specifically do you want me to say about registering? There's also actually an open house for potential new members that happens in October, where they can learn more about what joining a sorority entails and more about the chapters. It's usually philanthropy-based. You can learn about the chapter's philanthropies and meet a few women from each chapter too, to give you a better understanding of what joining the community is.
Thanks, Shannon. Okay, I'm putting this link, sorry, Juliet, thanks for your work. I'm putting a Google Doc or a Google form that IFC and Panhellenic has in the chat right now. This is a general interest in fraternity and sorority life form, so click on that, go ahead and fill out your basic information, and IFC and Panhellenic will follow up with you directly as updates about, when open house is and when registration's opening, all that good stuff. You'll be able to get on an email list if you can go to this Google Doc. I'll also share that Google Doc, the actual link to it lives on the fall programming website. That's a broader Chapman website for engagement this upcoming semester. And so, you can always find it there as well. And as I mentioned, open house is not, that specific date is not set. I will say for both student organizations and fraternity and sorority life, you all through orientation and other programs will have the opportunity to hear from other student leaders a lot about how to get involved in these groups and when to get involved. There will be no shortage of information and social media posts going out about connecting to different folks on campus, different organizations on campus. So we will get that started. And open bidding is specifically for transfer students and upperclassmen who have completed 12 units at a college or university before. So if you are one of those folks, you would be eligible to join a sorority this fall as opposed to waiting till the spring semester. So that's what that is. Thanks for the question, Natalia. Other questions, and sorry if you all see questions that I missed, feel free to jump in. But other questions from folks. Maybe Ramia, I'll go to you because we haven't heard from you in a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about just like time commitment, how you manage this with classes and maybe even your presidency with a lot of other things that you're involved with and that you have going on, and how that affects your like day-to-day experience at Chapman?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very involved. I'm always very, very busy. Like usually when we're on campus, like my days are, they start early in the morning and I don't get back. I wouldn't get back to my dorm room until 12:30 at night. So I was very busy. But yeah, I think just time management is so key. And this is something that I would tell like some of the freshmen who are in BSU, because they're like, what? Like, because BSU, we meet at 10 p.m. on Monday nights, and they're like, 10 p.m.? Like, we need to be in bed. And I'm like, no, like, a lot of things in college run really late, and there's so much going on all the time, and you really gotta, yes, like definitely be involved and get involved with those things, but you also really need to focus in on how you're gonna manage your time and how you're gonna, make sure you're still getting, your homework done and things that you need to get done, while also being able to like still have room to hang out with your friends or go to a new club or try out, whatever you want to do. But time management is so key, especially if you are looking into wanting to start a club, or if you want to, join a sorority or fraternity and be on the leadership, executive council or whatever for those things. Like you definitely have to know how to manage your time well. And I know like a lot of freshmen who are coming in, you guys are all gonna have each other to hold each other accountable to really being able to manage your time. But I think, obviously this semester is gonna be wonky, so it might be a little easier, but definitely, yeah, make sure you're really trying to think about, you're keeping in the back of your mind, how am I gonna, manage my time efficiently? So.
Thanks, Marmia. The next question I had, and I want to kind of briefly go through each of you, but what, for student orgs or Fraternity and Sorority life, what's your favorite event? Like, what's the thing that happens on campus connected to student groups that you look forward to, that kind of flagship, whatever it might be? And raise your hand if you want to go first, or if you're like, I know what I'm going to say, and I'll call on you. Mia, go ahead. Yeah.
I love air bands. So air bands, I'm in Gamma Phi Beta sorority. It's our philanthropy event, but also I get both sides of the fun because I'm in, BSU as well, and we get to perform in that. So it's like, I feel like both of my worlds get to like combine a little, and it's amazing because air bands is such a fun event, and the whole school pretty much shows up and watches all of the, the hard work that a lot of the students have put into their dances and stuff. It's pretty much like a lip sync, like, I don't know, like lip sync sort of competition. And it's really, really fun. And it's all for a good cause. Yeah, I see there's a skit as well, which is so fun. There's similar vibes, but yeah, that's pretty much what I look forward to. So.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Within student orgs, I really enjoy student involvement fair that happens every semester, and also president meetings. That's when I can see all like the exec board members and president and just like talk with them from my category. I was even if I was like student organization assistant, I didn't manage every single category. I was specifically for civic engagement. And so I was through a student involvement fair, I saw the clubs and I walked around, like when I was able to shake their hands back then, I shook their hand and introduced myself to them, and kind of reminding them about like if they ever need any help or assistance, I'm always there for them. And then they could always shoot me an email, studentorgs@chapman.edu. And at the president meeting, it's when it happens like 3 times a semester. It's where we meet president or other exec board member and basically tell them about how you could improve your organization overall, and then the resources to remind them of the resources that Chapman offers they could utilize. And yeah, I love meeting people. So I think meeting new president and then building that relationship was really fun for me.
Thanks, Juan. Mac, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so like Ramia, I love skit and air bands. Those are definitely some of my favorite events, especially since my chapter does pretty well in them. But I also really just enjoy the recruitment period, both semesters and even sorority recruitment. It's a lot of fun to see people kind of finding their homes, meeting new people, whether you are on the recruitment side of trying to join a chapter or if you're already in a chapter, meeting all the new people. It's just a lot of fun to get to hear about people's experiences, learn new faces, and see people find their place on campus, whether it's with your chapter or not. I just think it's really a rewarding experience for everyone involved, and I always look forward to it every semester.
Yeah, I guess I can go. I mean, I guess like that like covered a lot of Greek life things, but even just like from like the smaller scale philanthropy events to the larger scale ones, like it's just really like a good time just to be able to like come together with like people in your own chapter and like compete against like other chapters, like all friendly competition, but just like different, like there's like different volleyball tournaments that some chapters have. And I mean, the event I hosted was we did the Alpha Gamma Movie Awards, and that was really cool just because I had like a behind the scenes like look of like what it all took to like create, but it was like different chapters making their own movies. And there's just a lot of different like small things and big things that you can just get involved in by being a part of these groups.
Thanks, Shannon. Dylan, did you want to jump in, or are you good to move forward?
I mean, it's not really student organizations, but there's, as we've mentioned before, there was an organization called University Program Board, and they are a student-run event planning organization on campus, and they host a ton of student events ranging from large scale to small scale, such as fall or spring concert, spring sizzle, smaller events like Adopt a Succulent is a really popular one where we just get free succulents and how to take care of succulents, and also teaching about sustainability. So there's a lot of these different events that are geared towards student interests as well as engagement on campus and off campus programming. And they happen, I want to say almost every week, but given how things are going right now, we'll see how that goes. But if you have any more questions, or if you want to know more about University Program Board, you can look them up on the Chapman website or Engage. They have an Engage profile, and you can also find them on social media. And I'll post those links down in the chat.
Yeah, and Dylan, I think UPV and SGA are going to have a separate panel just like this, so folks can log in to learn more about them as well, which will be great. And I'll share, I think, a common theme with a lot of this for both student organizations and Fraternity and Sorority life is connection. It's finding folks who you enjoy spending time with, who you enjoy talking about things with, challenging each other about things, and whether that be, you know, building out a 7-minute song and dance or debating an issue or whatever else it might be, I think it's valuable to do that, and I think people really enjoy that, and Chapman has a lot of, I think, infrastructure in place to support that. Yeah, and just to address that last question, yeah, the president and executive committee has said that they're hoping to have a more definitive answer to that August 7th as kind of the last deadline for them to announce that. So that, we should have an answer there, but I know that they're committed to trying to communicate that out as soon as possible, with the real desire to have people back in person in a safe way. Well, good. Any other questions? And Juliet, anything else that you would like to hear from this group?
I think we covered a lot of really great information.
Cool. Well, good. We'll give folks another minute. Good question. So if classes are all virtual, campus will not be open for student meetings, programs, that kind of thing. However, when we are able to have campus open, I think a lot of work is being put into trying to get students in smaller groups to connect safely in person in covered outdoor spaces or whatever else it might be. So again, sorry, I don't have as many definitive answers as I would normally or would like to, but that's the hope is that that can happen later on this semester. Okay, a little bit broader question. Oh, and I have another one for you all as well, but off-campus housing? Anyone have quick insights there? And then I have one final question to just touch on.
You really just have to look at a lot of different websites to see what would fit your ideal housing situation. One that I've been living in for a few years now is La Vida Grande, which is it's really close. I bike every day, so you should check that out. But other than that, just kind of do your own research, and yeah, that's literally it.
Thanks, Dylan. One question, and I've gotten this actually over email from other folks, but can you all talk about like the social scene as it relates to student organizations and fraternities and sororities? Does someone want to talk about that? And I can jump in as needed. Don't all jump at once. Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I think that the social scene is very unique at Chapman because given that it is a smaller university, you don't necessarily need to be involved in a specific organization to have friends or to be involved. As long as you're doing something on campus, you're going to be able to find your place. The fact that all of you are in this call right now means you're probably going to be in a student organization of some sort, much like most of our students. And you're going to be able to, whether you're in multiple or in one, you'll find your people, as cliche as it sounds, and it'll kind of tailor your social experience at the university. I know I got a lot of questions when I was managing recruitment of like, if you're not in a fraternity, or if you're not in a sorority, are you still going to be able to have a social life? And I definitely think that you can at Chapman. I wasn't involved in Greek life until my second semester, and it's definitely something that enhanced my experience, but by no means is it a complete necessity. I think as long as you're doing things to find your people on campus, you're going to enjoy your time and you're going to have a good social experience.
Thanks, Mac. And thanks for the question. So the plan, if we are all, again, there's a lot up in the air, and Mac has the privilege and challenge of coordinating fraternity recruitment for this fall semester. But the plan is that if we are all virtual for an extended period, or it looks like an extended period, that we would be hosting a virtual fraternity rush process in the fall. If there is a strong chance that we are able to come back to campus and have some sort of in-person experience later in September or otherwise, I think the desire of our fraternity men is that they're hoping that there can be some in-person experience with masks, social distance on campus. That type of structure would likely be the format there. So again, can't specifically address that question, but there will be a fraternity rush process no matter what the semester, either way, I guess is the answer there. Wonderful. We're wrapping up in our final couple minutes. If you have final questions, please drop them in the chat, and we're gonna have each of our panelists also drop their information in the chat. I know Jiwon already did, but if you could take a minute and share your emails, if you're comfortable, feel free to reach out to any of them directly, copy and paste their information, and we would be happy to connect with you all. Okay. And not seeing other questions, I will again reiterate, check out the websites. Go ahead and sign up on that interest form for Fraternity and Sorority Life in particular. And student orgs, I really encourage you to go to check out Engage, email the presidents directly if you're really interested, passionate, and then email studentorgs@chapman.edu, and we'll get back to you if you want to start a new club or organization. We'd be happy to support you in that process. But with that, if there's no other questions, I will maybe turn it back over to Juliet, and we'll wrap up. Oh, you're muted.
Classic. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to our staff, representatives, and current students. I hope we were able to share some useful information for all of you. We definitely don't want to stop the communication here, so you have these links, you have these contact emails and phone numbers, so continue to reach out to us and other members of our campus to continue to learn more about what we have to offer for our students and how you can really personalize your collegiate experience at Chapman, both inside and out of the classroom. With that said, I'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.